Black Ops 6's biggest problem so far. Today, I'm going over Black Ops 6's biggest problem and why we should be worried for the game's release. Let's get right into it. Alright, it's pretty simple to me, and it's gonna come down to the maps, ladies and gentlemen. These maps in the beta so far, I mean, let me just be honest here. These maps are absolutely horrible, and let me explain why. I'm gonna go over every single map, and at the end, I'm just gonna say, why I think they've made the maps the way they are, and I'm very worried about the full game's release, and I feel like we may have to rely on remastered maps once again. But yeah, let's start off with Derelict.
Brother,
Derelict in this greenery scenery with a big ass train in the middle of the map. I mean, this map, I'll be honest, man, is absolutely horrible. If you spawn on the side that has, the big building with like the watchtower, you're cooked. I mean, you can barely get out of that side of the map, and it's such a disadvantage if you're spawning there, and I just hate the map so much, man. I remember when Treyarch, used to have maps that were very clean, no clutter all over the place, and I feel like with Black Ops 6, man, there's just a whole bunch of clutter for no reason whatsoever. I have no idea where the direction has led them to make so much clutter in the way, with debris all over my screen, with boxes everywhere, with head glitches everywhere, with just objects being in the way. I just hate... I really hate the map design that they went for in this game, and I also think that with Derelict, the map just doesn't flow whatsoever. I feel like the map, doesn't have any kind of flow to it. I feel it's a bit all over the place, and honestly, I really just dislike the map massively. And yeah, for competitive players out there, man, this year could be it could be chalked for you. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this year could be a tough one for you.
Not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
I also think the visuals for Derelict, the map itself, is absolutely horrible. And yeah, man, I'm just not a huge fan of this map. I don't really understand kind of the philosophy of making this map, designing this map. I just feel like it's completely horrible in my opinion, and definitely one of the maps that I try and not play. Definitely my least favorite map on this beta, and I'm just worried for these maps, man. Let's get on to Scud now. Scud, I mean, I'll be honest, man, this map isn't actually horrible.
are you sure about that?
But there is a but. The satellite thing with the head glitch, it absolutely ruins this map, man. I don't know what they could do to fix it. I think, the piece that is kind of like under the guy's body, I think that they should make, the whole satellite thing open instead of giving the guy a head glitch who's on that par position. I think that would make the map much more fair, and you're going to be able to, kill the guy who's camping up there. But yeah, that kind of ruins the entire map, because if someone has control of that area, man, where the satellite is, it's not going to be it's not going to be a fun experience. But everything else around the map, I actually don't mind it. I feel like you're able to traverse the map pretty well, get into the trenches, get close to enemy, spawns, and, try and run and gun, especially with like an SMG on kind of an AR map. So, honestly, Scud isn't the worst map I've ever played, and I feel like if they can improve on that satellite area part, I definitely think it's a map that I wouldn't mind playing in pubs for sure. The next map, Skyline. Skyline is one of the most well-balanced and probably the best map in this game, I can't lie. It's got a good 3-lane system, well, kind of 3-lane, it's kind of like a 2-lane, and then like a lane at the top with, where you can run across. But yeah, it's pretty solid, man. I wouldn't say it's the best map I've ever played, but it's a map in like the COD game where it's like, oh, we're getting this map, not a bad map whatsoever. And I feel like the poolside is actually very good in my opinion. If you're in the bedroom, the bedroom area, you can sprint out mid-map and then cut left, obviously, to that bar area. And I feel like the bar area is actually designed very well. You can hold it down very well. And I just feel like it creates for a lot of gunfights and very good flow, in my opinion. I feel like when you run out in the open, you can kind of finesse around things and, try and play that game of like ring around the rosy against someone. And I just feel like it's a very well put together map, and it flows very well compared to the other maps that we have on this beta. So it's more of a medium kind of sized map, small-ish, but medium sized in my opinion, and I feel like it flows very well. And for you competitive guys out there that play maybe wagers or into esports in any way, I definitely think this is a map that could be in rotation for that hard point, maybe search and destroy at the start of the year. So definitely a map that's well put together, flows very well, and creates for a lot of gunfights. And I also think that camping on that map is very difficult because the spawns, I will be honest though, the spawns, just for the game in general, but for that map in particular, especially for like domination, is absolutely horrible. I mean, I'm in my spawn and a guy just spawns behind me, completely random, so the spawns on that map need work. But overall though, I feel like the map doesn't promote camping in kind of any way. You're able to flank enemies very well, control a lane very well, control a power position very well, and I feel like it's a very well balanced map and creates for a lot of gunfights, flow, and just kind of a fun experience in my opinion, and probably the best map in the beta that we have in terms of balance. So yeah, I really like this map.
Nice.
The next map is Babylon, which was released with Weekend 2, the open beta. And for a small map, man, you know, I'm going to be complaining about all of these small maps because we're getting just no medium-sized maps, and it's kind of, it's really creating for a brain rot experience and brain dead experience where I'm not actually having to use my brain and kind of outflank and outskill someone.
Hang in there, Squidward. It's all part of the...
But yeah, Babylon, for a small map, I actually like it, man. It is a fun map, probably one of the more fun maps in this game, and I feel like it plays very well. You know, a lot of gunfights. I mean, all of these maps create for a lot of gunfights, but if they didn't have all the other small maps, I'd be like, yo, Babylon's actually a fun map, and if I want to play something different, I'm gonna vote for Babylon. But all of these maps are so small, man, that it's just like, it just gets repetitive and repetitive and repetitive on the Warzone side, but you just feel like it's the same thing over and over again when playing, you know, Rebirth Island, and I feel like it's kind of the same thing with these maps, and especially Babylon as well. But honestly, you know, I can't complain about Babylon for the small maps. Obviously, the spawns are just absolutely horrible, but I'm not even going to complain about the spawns for such a small map, so it is what it is. But yeah, I like how the map flows. It's very fast-paced, you know, it warns you actually pushing people, trying to get, you know, 100 kills. That's why I got, I think my PR on that, it's like 110 kills on that map. So I enjoyed Babylon very much, and definitely a map that I could see myself, you know, camo grinding on, and maybe they create that for a 24/7 playlist or something like that. But yeah, it's not really that cluttered either, it doesn't feel like, and I feel like it just flows very well and creates for a lot of engagement, which, you know, most people like, and I think that's the main reason why they made these maps. So yeah, the next map,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
map, Rewinds. Rewinds, I don't know, man. This map is so hit or miss. It really is. The map actually looks very nice. The map with the reflections, the colors. The map really does look very nice. One of the more, you know, aesthetically pleasing maps on this game by far. I mean, a lot of these maps are very ugly and dull, especially for a Treyarch game, which, you know, I'm kind of like, where did the... I really do believe that these guys are not the same maps that made, you know, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and Cold War even. Cold War was a bit dull, and it was kind of a rush game, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, with these maps, very dull and boring, but with Rewind, it kind of reminds me of a Treyarch map, very colorful. I like the reflections, I like I just like how the map looks, in my opinion. But let's talk about how the map plays. This map is like hide and seek. Yes, you're gonna be like, but you're complaining about small maps. That's not even my point. The map is like so... I don't know, it just doesn't flow well whatsoever. You know, the spawns are absolutely horrible. The spawns flip-flop, like, the spawns flip so fast, and yeah, I feel like the map doesn't flow very well. I feel like I could be getting 7 kills in, like, I don't know, 30 seconds, and then running around for the next 2 minutes trying to find someone. Maybe that's a skill issue, but I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty good player. I'm not trying to, like, flex. I have a 2.5 KD on this beta, so it's not like I'm a terrible player. You know, I'm a guy that tries and sprints around the map and tries to find people, and I feel like playing Rewind, it's kind of hard to do that. But yeah, people in the comments are going to try and be smart and say like, but you were saying these small maps, you know, there's too many small maps in this game. Yes, but this map just doesn't flow that well. I feel like that comes down to the enemy. The enemy can be in so many places. They can be in one building, you know, like, I can't even like describe it. They can just be in so many buildings, you know, the building, like the cafe over in the far side, and then they can be in the big building, and then there's a little small building they can be in. There's just so many buildings in such a small map, and the way the map like flows and integrates like into each lane, so let's say like the left lane, right lane, the way you can like just run in and out of buildings it's like different lanes, it just doesn't create for a smooth experience in my opinion. And yes, it's kind of a 3-lane map, but it doesn't flow like a 3-lane map in my opinion, because there's so many entry and exit points into buildings, and there are so many buildings on that map, and it just doesn't flow well for me in my opinion. It feels like there's literally 2 lanes per lane, if that makes sense. Like where the cafe is, there's like a lane inside the cafe and then a lane outside the cafe, and with, you know, the main building area, there's like a lane inside the building and then a lane outside the building, and then the same with the other side of the map as well. It's just, I don't know, man, the map just doesn't flow well for me, you know, for kind of a medium big size map, and I haven't really been enjoying that map, I'll be honest, man. But let me kind of explain why I think they made these maps the way they are. I think it honestly comes down to audience retention. I honestly think it comes down to that. You know, these guys, give, you know, Activision, whoever's like coming up with these decisions, they're smart guys, you know. They're trying to make as much money as possible, and they're definitely, you know, looking at data. Let's say shipment 24/7, one of the more most played, you know, playlists on Modern Warfare 3. They might be looking at the data saying, okay, this is one of the most played playlists. The audience retention's very high. People seem to enjoy it, and people seem to, you know, get that dopamine kick for playing that map. So maybe they're looking at the data and kind of saying, we may as well make smaller maps, because it seems like we can get the most money by making those maps, most audience retention by making these maps, and kind of just get the player to stay on the game for the longest. So I definitely think that's a factor with how they've designed these maps, for sure, in my opinion. Like, for you competitive players out there, I'm a guy that plays wagers, S&D, kind of every single year, and I really enjoy it, but
We do not care.
for Black Ops 6, man, I am very, very worried. For the beta so far, you know, I think that Skyline could be a potential search and destroy map, you know, for competitive Call of Duty, but I don't want to rely on, you know, the boring, same old remastered maps, like Firing Range, we're going to be getting apparently. Hacienda and Fringe, you know, Hacienda and Fringe would be actually sick to get remastered. Some of the best Call of Duty maps of all time. I mean, maybe not Hacienda, but it's a solid map, especially for competitive Call of Duty, like Search and Destroy, Hardpoint, and Control. You know, plays very well in all 3 game modes there. But yeah, I feel like we may have to rely on remastered maps to get those medium-sized, large maps that we kind of want. Well, a lot of the hardcore Call of Duty players definitely want more medium to larger size map. I'm not talking about like Stonehaven, by the way. I'm not talking about that kind of large map, but I'm saying, you know, a normal Call of Duty map, like a Firing Range, like a Fringe, and like a Hacienda. And apparently Yemen could also be making a return from Black Ops 2, which was a solid search and destroy map as well. But yeah, I'm very worried for these maps, man. You know, this is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the world we live in with this TikTok brain. I mean, there's no way. There's no other way why they made the maps the way they are. It has to come down to the audience retention and stuff like that. I just don't see a way it isn't, to be honest. And yeah, man, I'm very worried for the maps. All small maps, no kind of medium-sized maps, and with the medium-sized maps, don't really play extremely well. I mean, Skyline, like I went over, is a solid map, but yeah. I'm very intrigued to hear your guys' comments down in the comments below. Yeah, you know, like I've went over kind of all the maps here, and again, we need bigger sized maps, and hopefully we get that for Black Ops 6 or Black Ops 6's release, but Yeah, I'm kind of fed up, you know, having to rely on getting good maps for, you know, remastered maps. I'm really getting fed up of that, and I know there's a lot of people saying, this is what happens when you don't let them remaster maps, dude. I mean, that's not even the point. I just want a good 3-lane map, medium to larger size map to flow well. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know where the designs for the map went wrong, to be honest. I feel like the maps the past 5 or 6 years have really just been terrible in my opinion. And I also forgot to mention, I definitely think the smaller size maps kind of are maybe a Warzone side as well, because the Warzone side, you gotta level up guns, and people want to level their guns up fast by, you know, getting they're getting a lot of kills in these smaller maps. So I definitely think the Warzone side of things has kind of affected these maps as well, potentially. So yeah, but yeah, let me know down in the comments below. I'm very interested to see what you guys think about these maps. And I also think one more thing, you know, the tax sprint in this game, the tax sprint is actually such a I don't know why it's in the game. I have no idea why it's in the game. It's such a gimmick for me. It just makes the game so clunky. It really does punish better players, doesn't it? It really does punish those better players. You know, if a better player sprinting and tries and aims in, the ADS times are so slow, and that's obviously going to hinder a better player who's trying to move around the map, traverse somewhere around the map, and try and, you know, flank someone. So yeah, I also think tax sprint is also a massive issue as well, but you know, I can deal with it. At least it is what it is. You know, we've become used to it for the past few years in Call of Duty, guys. But yeah, Black Ops 6 overall, the gameplay mechanics, the movement, the gunplay, everything about this game in terms of its mechanics is very good in my opinion. One of the better CODs that we've had in a long time, and that's not even just a honeymoon phase. It feels the best to me with the movement, with the gunplay that we've had probably in the past 5 years ish, I'd say. But yeah, the maps are definitely going to be a make or break for this game, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on these maps? And yeah, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. Peace.